All right. Thank you, John, and I apologize for the disruption again. So we are going to start with the Dynamics 365 third leg of session, which is going to talk about optimization and integration. And the agenda for today is we are going to have a quick recap of session 1 and session 2. Then we talk about examples for process improvements, productivity gains, and product integration scenarios. Integration has become a key, and a lot of products are now being selected or provisioned within the organizations because of their integration capabilities. So here is the agenda for today. So I'll just skip or move to who we are and what we do, and it's over to John again for a quick lap around that before we start the session.
Thank you, Tahir. As we've said in our other sessions, Macrosoft and Calsoft are strategic partners. Both of our companies are Microsoft Gold partners and have been so for a dozen plus years. And we work with companies in a wide variety of areas. Office 365, which will be an upcoming webinar series. Azure, which we're also going to be discussing. Private hybrid infrastructure. Also looking at DevOps with that Agile Scrum development methodology, and our project management. But what we're talking about today is Dynamics 365, which is part of our ERP CRM practice. And Tahir will share with you our findings over the next 30 minutes.
Thank you, John, again. We are going to move to the recap scenario, and Dynamics roadmap is always something that people ask us about, that how it has translated from a bunch of old different versions to the Dynamics 365 that we know today. So here is a screen which we have talked about earlier as well, where we have Dynamics 365, earlier known as CRM, AX, Project Madeira, Great Plains, Navision, and SL. So now it has translated into Dynamics 365 Enterprise Edition and a Business Edition, which now encapsulates pretty much all the functionality of the previously old versions. Yeah, Dynamics, Great Plains, Navision, and SL are still continuing the roadmap until further notice from Microsoft, and we are hoping to hear some news in the next couple of months on whether they are going to keep them or continue to support these products, or they are going to merge them under 365. So this is a quick gash lap around the Dynamics 365, and this is what we discussed in our first session, that based on our industry experience, our implementations, we have came up with a right workaround or a solution methodology for Dynamics upgrade and implementation. And we are going to start with envisioning, where we talk about the product, then we move to the technical assessment of your existing deployment, then we do the functional assessment of knowing what your processes are, how you're using it, and then we go with the implementation based on the information that we gathered in the previous two phases, and based on the first phase where we actually see what you're looking for and how you are aligned with the modern era technology. We also covered core features of Dynamics 365, that, Dynamics 365 is now a bunch of solutions. It has project service automation capabilities, sales, customer service operations, marketing, field services. AX is more focused on Dynamics 365 for operations, but today I'm going to talk a little bit more about project service automation, because as a suite, Dynamics 365 share the common interfaces and common practices across the suite of applications that it brings. So we are going to take a little bit of detour to give you a flavor of other components of Dynamics, because I think from a large session we have covered Dynamics 365 in pretty much a lot of detail around the features and the function that it offers. And we also talked about how it integrates with Office 365, how it really leverages the Power BI and Cortana Intelligence and IoT solutions. A lot of people have reached out to me last time based on the right component on the IoT thing, that how IoT fits in. So with the modern era manufacturing, with modern era retail stores, IoT is now being considered by a lot of companies to help increase the value that they provide to their customers, as well as increase the consumer experience as well. So we are looking at counterless shopping malls. We are looking at you are going for your groceries and probably not paying at a counter, and you have a device which is tracking what you are buying, and you are linked to your automated a banking channel. So whatever type of payment methodology, whether it is a mobile wallet or your credit card that you are using, you are going to literally integrate it directly with the product that you're picking from the shelf. So this is where the future is, and the reason that why I'm sharing it, that the core purpose of this particular series is to provide you with the technology insight, so you can take or understand these components and bring the value in your organization. So if you are a retail store, if you are a technology company, you may start providing or working on these ideas to make sure that you are a step ahead of your competition while you are operating in your respective markets. If we move forward to the next slide, so we are going to talk about Dynamics 365 process improvement, that how you can literally take the benefit of by improving your processes using the product. Improved processes actually they drive business performance. And if you look at Dynamics 365, it falls under the business applications vertical within Microsoft. So they are line of business applications, and the core purpose of line of business application at the end of the day is to bring in more performance and productivity within any organization they are being deployed into or served into. So whether you are from a technical background or you are going to be a user of the application, whenever you choose a new application, you need to understand that what performance gains you are going to get, whether they are in the shape of reporting or in form of modern solutions or becoming a technology shop or something like that. But it has to be quantifiable, and it has to be there in terms of what you are gaining out of a new investment that you are making. So I'm going to give you a quick example of a process. There is a process that and from a project service automation perspective, you have an opportunity, then you make a project plan, then you do the resource management, then you do team collaboration, you manage time and your expenses and monitor them, you do customer billing, and you do service analytics, that how the service has gone through. And during that process, there are a lot of other elements which are involved, and the biggest element are the people. And I always talk about the importance of people, process, and technology. So in our first two sessions, we have talked about the technology. And today we are going to talk a little bit more about process and the people. So I always call people, process, technology as a three-legged stool. So all of the three legs of that stool are vital to have in order to bring the stability. If any of the leg, either process, people, or technology, it breaks off, it is very difficult to keep that stool straight and keep sitting on it. So there are three essential components, and we always talk about it as a triple constraint. That people, process, technology, they form a very strong triangle. If any of the element fails, there is a big price to pay. So we are going to focus on process and people element to it, and we have talked about technology in past. So today's session will focus a little bit less on the technology side of it. So this is a quick example, and if I translate that example into a little bit more detail, that how people are using it, how people are utilizing the technology and the process. So we have the top line, which is, and if you can see my mouse cursor, we have a top line here that talks about the process. So this is the process, which is opportunity management, project planning, resource management, team collaboration, time, expenses, customer billing, and service analytics. Then we have the people at the bottom who are using or utilizing or are a part of this process. And then in the middle, we have a bunch of different technologies which are more relevant with Office 365 scenario. So you can see a CEO, COO, and an account manager, which are usually either in a conference room or on the road, working out with their customers, reaching out to the people who are buying from them and ensuring customer satisfaction. So mostly they are on the run, they are on the road. So they are going to use their mobile devices more. So the solution or whatever technology that we are provisioning has to be mobile enabled. It has to serve the purpose from the mobile. They don't have to, or the whole of the company don't have to rely on them being back on their seats to approve, reject, or be part of any process that is going on based on whatever technology that you are having. And then you have project managers, partner managers. These people, they might be on site for customer, they might be serving a customer who are hundreds of miles away, they might be working out of their office, so they are they are dependent upon the cloud component of your solution. So your solution needs to be cloud enabled. It can be accessed from anywhere. Either they are within your office or outside your office. And then there is a global component that comes in that you might be having external people who are delivering or are part of your delivery team. You have some consultants which are not part of your organization. They might be third-party consulting services. So your application or solution should also be able to incorporate and share information in a right way with the right guidelines with these internal or external components that are involved in your project service delivery cycle. So this particular slide is a great example of what a solution can do, how people, process, and technology comes together to deliver the value for a customer, and also to bring you a level of offering that you can take to your customers or within your organization. So with that, I move to the next slide. This is the next slide. We are going to talk about a little bit about the integration components of it. So usually companies are using, when they are running a project, they are using different project management tools. Here we are picking Microsoft Project, and Dynamics integrates extremely well with Microsoft Project. So you can task your schedule, you can track your tasks, you can track your schedule, you can track your work hours, durations, and billing hours very easily right out of Dynamics. So if you are going through a service level automation process, you need to calculate how many hours that we are spending, what tasks that we are going to do, what is the status of those tasks, and how these tasks they associate and collaborate internally into Dynamics. So for example, if your Dynamics is going through a flow that you have a sales team which is going to close a deal, and after you close a deal, the provisioning of the service is going to start. So the moment the task which is related to closing a deal in the project plan completes, the Dynamics will automatically initiate the next step, which is tremendous level of integration, and it saves a lot of time for companies, because a lot of time we are just a little bit lazy on looking into the manual process, and usually spend days, if not hours, reacting on a prerequisite to a task to make sure that things start moving smoothly. So these level of technology, they really bring a lot of value for customers and for your organization, and you can do a lot of integrations that can benefit you. So from an integration perspective, there are out-of-the-box guidelines as well, and we can also help you in achieving that integration. So let us know if you have any questions in any area where we can assist you. Each of this integration does require a background insight into a particular product and technology, as well as the business insight into how you are running your business from a process standpoint. So when we combine the people part and the process part with this technology, everything comes alive. So let us know if you have any queries and questions around that. With that, I move to the next slide. Here you can actually see from a people perspective that, I'm sorry I missed the last one out. So if you are assigning somebody a task, what task they are assigned to, who is working on that task, when is their availability, when are they going to complete their task. So from a project perspective, you have the task, you have the schedule, and then you have the people who are working on the task. So you have pretty much all the granular level of detail from a project that you launch within your Dynamics suite of applications as well. With that, I move to the next slide. I'll just give it a few seconds so it loads for you. So you can, the great part of, again, this integration is that you can literally track the time, you can literally track the materials and fixed costs that are associated with the project. So usually there are different type of projects, each involves time, materials, and fixed costs. There are projects which do not involve fixed costs but can be done on variable costs. So all these type of capabilities, they are available from an integration standpoint. A lot of companies who will go and do Dynamics implementation they usually ask us that, how we are going to incorporate that in our project. So if we are launching a new initiative, if we are launching a new project and we are using Dynamics for that, so that is a new project, how we integrate the whole project management life cycle or the project plan with Dynamics. So here is a great example that how you can do that. So you don't have to run the two things separately manually, and being in a nightmare scenario where your Dynamics is not working in sync with your project management, or your project management is not working in sync with your line of business solution. So you can actually integrate that, and you can actually get the benefit out of that. With that, I move to the next slide, which is the BI scenario. Power BI, we have talked about last time, is one of the greatest tools out there. It is again a third party. It's not a third party. It's a Microsoft solution that integrates with Dynamics. So it looks like, to most of the people, it looks like an outside solution coming into Microsoft Dynamics. Whereas the way Microsoft has architected their new applications, most of the code base and UI components are pretty same, so they literally don't look apart when you join them together, and the integration points are really, really cool and really, really good. So, and once they are joined together, they work seamlessly, and pretty much, you know, you have all the automation out there. So Power BI, with all the great reports out there, with all the great capabilities of how you are going to look at the data and make the decision making, is one of the biggest integration points which are out there. So from a Power BI perspective, all you need is a license for Power BI. If you are an Office 365 user, you can take the good benefit out of your Office 365 subscription, which has the Power BI in it. So in that case, you integrate your Dynamics 365 with Office 365 to get all the benefits like Power BI out. This is going to be my last slide from an integration perspective. A lot of companies who are running Dynamics, they are doing a lot of digital document signing. They have the legal aspect to it. So your Dynamics can actually go and integrate with your DocSign, your SharePoint, your Office 365. You can literally scan your mail into Dynamics 365 directly. You can use SharePoint for your electronic and digital signatures, or any other digital signature solution that you are using. So Dynamics 365 does provide you with out-of-box capabilities to go and integrate with that. Then you also have telephony integrations. A lot of companies which are relying still on telephones, they receive telephone calls, they are running call centers. So you can literally have your integration going on with Cisco devices, Astratic devices, Alcatel, Anaya, Siemens, Skype for Business, even regular Skype. So Dynamics 365 does open a variety of channels for you, and that allows you to go and literally access your customers outside your telephony boundaries as well. So with the availability of Skype and Skype for Business, you can literally go and reach out to your customers across the globe. And one great thing about Office 365 now is that all the people who are using Office 365 can now chat with each other based on the Skype as their common platform. So that integration will actually goes and allow you to reach out to your customers who are already on Office 365. And if you are already on Office 365, you can simply, start chatting and start, sharing information using Skype for Business, which also provide an additional level of integration where you can share a file via Skype for Business, and it directly uploads into a repository within your Microsoft Dynamics. And here it says Dynamics CRM, but I'm going to talk about Dynamics as a whole. So the Dynamics as a whole is going to go take care of this functionality. With this, I'm going to end. This time again, we are good on time. So if you have any questions, please shoot.
Tahir, thank you very much. Once again, a tremendous amount of information compressed in a very tight time window. Appreciate everything that you shared with us. I received 2 questions from the audience so far. If others have it, please chat with a question. The first question is regarding integration. How easy is it to integrate Dynamics 365 with Office 365?
That actually depends upon the granular level at which you want to achieve the integration. But from a basic perspective, if you are using SharePoint for a document repository, if you are using Skype for Business, the integration is pretty much straightforward, so you can achieve it within a week.
Okay, so very quickly.
Very quickly, yeah.
That's very impressive. The second question is around the Power BI, which you spoke about in the second half of your presentation. This participant says the Power BI reporting is great, but what they're unclear of is, do they need to purchase user licenses for everybody who sees and uses the reports? What is the licensing requirement for Power BI?
There are a bunch of ways around it. It's a great question because it impacts the CFO office directly in any organization. It is the amount of licensing they are always concerned about. So the short and quick answer to this is that if there are users who are only looking at the reporting, they don't need a Dynamics license. They can use their web platform or any other platform that they are using. If you are integrating with Office 365, your Power BI can literally represent as a web part on any of the SharePoint reporting site that you can create, and that does not require any additional licenses. However, if you are going to give your users, and especially those users who just require the licensing, the interface from within Dynamics, then you are actually looking for buying some licenses, but that is not a recommended way. That is where a good partner can come in, like us, who can guide you that how you can reduce your licensing cost while achieving the same results, which is to use Office 365 or other platforms that you have within your IT infrastructure environment to take the benefit out of this business intelligence and Power BI reporting.
Excellent. So when set up properly, viewing reporting can be done without a license, though exactly. Creation of the reports will require the license.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are at close to the bottom of the hour, so we're going to wrap up here. Tahir, I want to thank you for this series. This was part of a three-part series on Dynamics 365. This is part of an ongoing series of programs around cloud enablement that will be covering Office 365, HIPAA compliance, and several other topics. Yeah. Please stay tuned for future topics from the Microsoft CalSoft partnership.
Thank you, John. It's great being part of these sessions, and we are really happy to share more information going forward.
Thank you.